Hello everybody, this is Fyrirmaster Ingvar Johannesson from Iceland, and this is pattern recognition video number 5. And I welcome you to it, and I encourage you, if you haven't looked at the other ones, to look at them before you look at this one, because they are in order, and I usually have some exercises from the previous videos that I start with, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a couple of training positions before going any further, and let's get into the action. First position, it's black to move, and this is a tactical puzzle, and you should keep in mind some ideas discussed in the previous videos, but usually it's maybe you have to find some logical moves before the actual pattern emerges on the board. So again, you should just pause these, try to work it out, and then come back. So I'm assuming you've done that, and I'm going to go over the solution now. Black is up the exchange, but white has some pawns for it. However, his king is a little shaky, and black will exploit that with queen to c2, with a very simple threat of knight takes d3, which makes it wins the queen, and there's no way to defend the pawn. If you move the knight to defend it with a bishop, then you lose control over this piece here. So there's only one move for white here: bishop to h3, trying to create luft for the king here. Actually, you should have anticipated that, and you will have played knight takes d3, king f1. And now, of course, the point is not to take on c1, because this knight is actually pinned, pretty rare. But you should have spotted the idea if you've seen our previous videos, and this was in pattern recognition number 4, I believe. Queen d1, king g2, and you should all see it by now. It's the Patterson move. Okay, we're capturing, but it's the same. Queen takes h1, king takes, and knight takes f2, forks the queen, and we just picked up a rook along the way, so white must resign here. Too much material done. Okay, on we go to our next example. And well, it was a nice attacking effort by white, so we might as well see the build-up. White has sacrificed a pawn here for an attack. Here he sacrificed a knight. Here he threatens mate on f7. He develops a piece. Black is in big trouble. Knight b8, and now the nice move, queen d6, knight c6, and now I ask you to find a powerful blow for white. And once again, it's related to a previous theme. I'm assuming you paused and came back, and the solution here is the powerful move, rook takes e7. In the game, black took with a knight, but if he takes with the queen, it's not exactly our theme, but it's completely winning. Rook e1. You can't take the queen. It's obviously completely losing. And if you try something like this, then this powerful move, queen d1, defending the rook, and then swinging over here, threatening to take on c5, And we're also threatening mate with rook takes e8, queen takes e8, bishop d6, knight e7 and queen f3. And for instance something like this, it's just completely over. In the game, black played knight takes e7, and now we have our theme, which is of course Boden's mate, queen takes f6, pawn takes, bishop h6. And you remember this theme, the bishops, and then normally a knight and a heavy piece blocking the escape squares, finishing the mate. Let's see what we have here. Here we have a study. It should be pretty solvable. So, obviously we have this big problem here of this pawn, and we need to stop it somehow. So take your time, pause it, and come back. The solution is bishop to c5. Now, this is based on, first of all, if knight takes, then c7. You can't stop it. If you try this, then with queen, and this is obviously a draw. We just check to infinity. If black tries to stop the pawn, king d7, knight takes c5, followed by knight b3, stopping the pawn, and it's white who wins. So that's obviously not desirable for black. And king takes c6 and king to d5 are both met by knight b4 takes a2. So the only try is king e5. Looks like the pawn is about the queen, but white tries c7. This has to be captured. Otherwise white will queen as well. So black captures. And now bishop d4 check. If you don't take, then we will play b4. The bishop stops the pawn. And if you capture, we play king b2 and pick up the pawn. So king takes d4. And now you should remember Lohmann's move. The move which you played against Lasker and Simul. Actually, you played, if you imagine a king, say on b4 for black, you played rook a5, king takes, and b4 check. And it's the same theme, knight c5. We're sacrificing a piece. Of course, if black queens, obviously we at least draw here on knight b3. It's a draw, but you know, if black is incompetent, he will lose. So he can't queen, and we're threatening knight b3. Only way to stop it is king takes c5, but then b4, completing the Lohmann trick, and king b2 picks up the pawn. Pretty nice. Studied by a couple. I think I have one more. Yes. This is a position I picked up from a book. White trapped black here with queen c1, and black fell into the trap with knight takes d4 check. Want to take a pawn with check. What could be the danger here? King d3, attacking the knight. The knight has no retreat, so queen takes e5, picking up another pawn. You might ask yourself, what is white doing? But okay, should have told you to pause and come back, but you can do it now. Pause and find the solution. What is white up to? What in the world is white up to? How about another dose of Petrosian? Queen c8 check. King g7, queen h8. And what you must have anticipated here is the beautiful point that after this knight on d4, it's trapped. There's no squares. The knight covers f3 and c6, and either a white pawn or black pawn or the white king cover the remaining squares. So a knight in the center has 8 squares, but none of them are available, and white will win easily. So this was, I believe, the last training exercise. No, actually I have one more, at least. So this is from Liko against Gelfand in Nalchik. Liko played queen c2, to which Gelfand responded rook f2 e8. And I ask you, if black is a less strong player and gets greedy with queen takes a2, what is the easy point behind queen c2? You pause the game back and you realized it's our good old friend Anastasia. Hello. The beautiful Anastasia mate. So it's funny to see this kind of crop up in even in super level games, this threat. Okay. On to our first theme pattern of this video. Strategical pattern number 3, which I call shutting down Spassky. And I do that because our first example is from a very famous game in the World Championship between Boris Spassky with white and Tigran Petrosyan with black. One of the best defensive players of all time. White just played a4, to which Petrosyan responded with c4. Bishop has to retreat. Well, actually bishop f5 is an interesting move, but it's not relevant to our discussion here. c4, and now the beautiful point of this c4 move. a6, completely shutting down Boris Spassky. And this is a pattern very much worth knowing. When white has an attack like this, if you can get this pawn formation, he's completely shut down. If he tries to play b5, you play a5. And if he tries to play a5, you play b5, and there is no more attack. And of course, usually it's important that the center is closed so that there are no open diagonals to take advantage of this, but here it's closed and this completely shuts white down on the queen side. And if we just move quickly over the game, we see that all the play is dictated by black. He's playing on the king side. Here white tries a5, but of course, as we all know, b5. And slowly but surely, black won a nice game here. Here came a patented exchange sacrifice by Petrosyan. And these errors were in the game before. I think they're pretty much highlighting how bad the white squared bishop of white is and how potentially strong the black one can become. And I'm not going to annotate, but you see that all the play is going on the king side, while white has no counterplay whatsoever. And this just cannot end in any good way for white here. And black won a beautiful game. Which he laid the foundation for with the defensive technique there on the queen side. Now let's look at some further examples of this. When I was younger, the King's Indian was a very popular opening, and this is the mainland of the King's Indian. Mar del Plata variation, I believe this knight c6, d5, 97 is called. And 91 and 92 were very popular when I was young. And at one time, this g4 move became pretty popular, and I remember more or less everybody who was slightly informed was playing this for white. And this is sort of a way, usually I think bishop e3 or something. Usually play also develops something like this, bishop f2, and you know, black has an attack on the like this on the king side, and the white will attack on the queen side, like so. But at some point, some players became tired and tried g4 to kind of just stop the black attack, and the point is, if black closes here with f4, we will play just like Petrosian did, h4. The center is closed, and black has no attack now. In this game, I mean, black was white was Ivar Gipslis from Latvia or something, 2560 against a 2360 player, Giola Kluger. And I'm not sure if this is the best play for black, but white just defends his h4 pawn, and bishop d2, ready to come to e1 to protect the pawn. And there's no way for black to break through. He tried something like this. And again, as soon as black plays g5, we close with h5. When he plays h5, we play g5. So actually the only way for black to get any attack in this variation, if he plays f4, is to play h5 and then sacrifice a piece on g5. And in this game he simply got no counterplay whatsoever. He allowed g5, and here now if he takes probably bishop h4 or something. But he played bishop e7, and he just allowed white to dictate all the play. You see the king side is completely closed, there's no counterplay. And I'm not gonna annotate the game, but going through it slowly, you will see that it is white who is playing on the queen side almost, you know, it's almost a free roll. Black has no counterplay, and the white won this game pretty easily. I mean, surely this is just desperation, he's giving up pawns to try to get some counterplay, but there simply isn't any. It's completely winning. And I'm sure that black will want to forget this game as soon as possible. Another example. Here we have a line from the French defense, advanced variation. And in this type of structure where black takes on double pawns and get this seemingly bad light squared bishop, although it's not that simple. Many times black will play here g5, and if white is not careful, black will play f4 next, and then put his bishop on a pretty good diagonal where it's useful and unopposed. So a very important move here for white to stop this f4 advance is to play f4 himself. And I think black should probably keep the tension with bishop e7 or something. In this game he played g4. And like we know, the center is closed, so black has no attack. I mean, this might look, if you flip it around, you might feel like you're attacking with black here, but you're not. Knight d3, played bishop e7, and again, I think we're attacking. I'm just going to play some random moves. Attack, attack, attack. There is no attack. I'll just build up or something. And g3, I play h3. h3, I play g3. And especially in this h3 and g3, sorry, when black plays h3 and white plays g3, it's important that this diagonal is completely closed, otherwise we could have some problems here on g2. So that's also, I mean, patterns can be simple, but there are of course other factors that you have to think about. And here, the center. When you're playing for this bind with the pawns on the second rank, then this becomes very important. So again, black is completely shut down on the king side, there's no counterplay. And here we have a nice tactic by white, not allowing black to straighten out the pawns. He throws in this Zwischenzug, and white is dictating the play here. And I mean, black tries h5, but of course there's nothing to be had on the king side. And white went on to win this game. Maybe not in the most impressive manner, but maybe you should play something. He played rook b5 and then went back. Okay, I was actually gonna suggest way to set up the pieces, but okay, he actually did that. Bishop d2 and knight e3. I was gonna suggest here to play rook b2 so that you can play bishop d2 and rook e3. So maybe this was okay. I want to put my knight on e3 to put pressure on d5 and f5. But okay, of course, this has nothing to do with our theme, so probably rook b5 was wrong because it gave black a tempo, but knight on c7 and try to get counterplay. But okay, white won in 73 moves. And again, black had no counterplay. So okay, now I think this is the final example. This is the game Viktor Pologan with white against Vadim Zvagintsev, which I found in his excellent book, Viktor Pologan Selected Games 1985 to 2004. A very good book, kind of personal as well, because he's writing much about his personal life experiences, even fragments from his diary. And I know Viktor Pologan, he's a very nice guy. I even still have a vodka bottle in my living room, which he presented to me after I invited him to a tournament in 2003. So he's very nice, and I like him. So this is white to play, and in this book, after his mate move b3, he has this to say: if you are going to advance pawns in front of your king, better make it both of them. No, this isn't the bravery of the insane, only an elementary technique for defending against the minority attack. Now if black plays b4, I play a4, and if he plays a4, I play b4. This should all be familiar to us by now. b3 was played, and this was a very nice game by white. e5, c6, and now he's just setting up a blockade on black squares. And you notice there's not even a hint of a black attack. A complete bind. He tried some tactics, but it didn't work. And white ended up winning. He has to block with the bishop, and then we'll take the rook. So a pretty nice game, and it all started with the defensive technique here with b3. And again, note his words. If black retreats with the rook and then tries to attack, as soon as he plays a5, we play b4. He plays b4, we play a4. And black has no attack. Excellent stuff. Moving on. We have a new theme. Tactical pattern number 6, which I have elected to call the Engels super pawn, but we might as well call it Alekhine's super pawn. Whichever works for you. It doesn't really matter. The main point is that you remember the pattern, the technique. So you can give it whichever name you like, you know. So what I choose is, well, I think it's good for me. You know, something to remember it by. But in the end, it's important what you think. And this position is, of course, from a game between Engels with white against Marosi with black. Marosi, of course, from Marosi Bind fame, naturally. Gyula Marosi from Hungary, famous player. And he was a victim of a beautiful combination here. Engels played rook takes b2. He was already up the exchange, but black had plenty of pots for it. But rook takes b2, black has to capture, otherwise the material is too much. But the big point of this combination is, of course, queen takes c8. Knight takes and d7. And this is the super pawn. The pawn on the 7th attacking a knight, and so to say attacking the queenie square, because it threatens the queen next move. And there's no way to defend it. If you try to defend the knight, we queen. And if you try to defend the queenie square, we take the knight and queen. So nothing to be done there. And fairly recently we had a classic game presented by Steve Farmer. The game Bogolyubov with white against Alekhine. Bogolyubov played rook takes a8, which was met by the wonderful move b takes e3. Rook takes e8, and now the super pawn c2. And this pawn is so strong that we can allow rook takes f8, picking up an extra rook with check. Doesn't matter, the pawn cannot be stopped. And Alekhine went on to win, and you can watch, if you're interested, you should watch the video made by Steve Farmer to see the rest of this game. Here I'm going to go through the tactical sequence from this game. A 2300 play with black, Denis Goltsov against a 2130 player from the Tchaikovsky Memorial 2003. Black played queen a5, his queen was attacked, and now the knight on c3 is attacked. Not much to do about that really. He played knight to b1, which white met with, black answered with b3. You cannot take the pawn because the rook on a1 will be hanging. If you take with the pawn, if you take with the bishop, then knight takes b3, and again the pawn is pinned, so black wins material. So he played bishop to d3, but it's not so easy. Black played knight takes d3. Now, if you take on d3, let's say rook takes d3, you're in trouble in many ways. Okay, let's say queen takes d3. That's a better example. Crap. Queen takes d3, new variation. I'm not going to overwrite. Okay. Then we will take on f3. and you're in trouble, because if you take here, and we have one apiece, and you can't do this. Well, first of all we can take and then take on b2, but we could also take here, and for instance Zwischenzug like this. Well, sorry, of course we well, it's not checkmate, but okay. Black is winning pretty easily. So okay, not the best line here, but you get my point. He can't take on d3, so he took on f6. Now if you take with the queen on d3, we take with the bishop on b2. So rook takes d3. But now another nice move, bishop takes f3. And this time you can't take with the queen because of mate. So the game continuation is forced, but now the angled super pawn comes into play. Queen takes a2. And this cannot be captured, of course, because the pawn on the 7th is attacking a knight and the queen square is not protected. So we will make the new queen and win. He tried rook d1, we took the knight, sorry, the rook, and then on b2, and black has a whole rook up, so white resigned. Just like to add one thing to this discussion. If you get this, just make sure that, say if the queen was on a3, you could swing to f8 and stop everything. That's the only thing you have to look out for. If a rook or a queen can come back to the 8th to block both the queen square and protect the knight, but in our example so far that has not been possible. Okay, I think this is the final. No, I have two more examples. Okay, so here we have the game Jan Elvest against Miguel Illescas Cordoba, and we had a funny trap here in the opening. Black took on b3 and then b1, hoping to equalize easily. He probably overlooked this Zwischenzug, d takes c6. And if he didn't overlook it, he thought, okay, I can just play bishop e4. I won a piece. c7, and c6. The queen square is protected. We play king d7, rook c8 next to pick up the pawn, and we just take with the bishop here, and we're up a piece. However, there's a tactical fault here. So in the game he played knight takes c6 and was simply down a pawn, and white won. Can you see the tactical fault here with bishop e4? Beautiful move. Rook takes a7. Taking the rook away from the 8th rank so that we can play c7. So he probably realized this and then played knight takes c6 instead. So like you saw here, c7 doesn't work if we can move the knight and open the 8th rank for a rook. So therefore the tactic is get the rook away from the 8th and then queen. So that was pretty nice. Pretty nice. And our final example, which isn't so great because black's probably just winning here after c takes b4, but he found the most brutal way to win, utilizing our pattern with a3. Of course we can't take because of this, and in the game Grishuk with white against Widler, played in this last April, he took on d5, but he simply played a2. And of course in this example it's important that white can't castle. Of course, he castled here on the 7th move, But if you could castle here, it's check, and then he can move the knight and save himself, but it's not possible. So a2, and he played rook f1, rook f6, and white resigned. You see, even though he takes the rook, he has taken 2 rooks, but we queen with check, this square is protected, and then we pick up a rook. So, a nice use of the Engels super pawn by Peter Schuyler. So, I decided only to make this 2 patterns this time. I was mulling over some other patterns for a while. Just couldn't decide what to use. I have some ideas, but just couldn't decide. So I decided, just make this, and I'll save something for future videos. But okay. So this was number 5, and in this we had strategical pattern number 3, Shotton-Spassky, along with tactical pattern number 6, the Engels or the Alekhine super pawn. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This is Fjordmaster Ingvar Johannesson saying goodbye.